see. Okay, we're live in just a moment. My goodness. Yep. Okay, we are standing by. We are standing by. At 106 on what is a beautiful Wednesday. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Real News. Yes. Good afternoon to everybody who's listening on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Yes, you can always listen online. That's true. At our website, which is depetro.com. Now, let me also just go through. You can watch us on our Facebook page, which is John DePetro Show. And then you can also watch on both X and also both on YouTube, of which we're live right now. We have a very action-packed hour to get through everything here. This portion of the Real News is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Folks, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Steve and Debbie and Junior and Lauren. Homegrown mums and kale are outstanding. They also have pumpkins, straw bales, corn stalks, gourds, Indian corn. They have it all. They're open 7 days a week. It's perfect to pop in, especially you're going to love the native vegetables. But the homegrown mums and kale are outstanding. Look at it outside. This is a great time to be able to plant. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. They're open 7 days a week. Their next day off is Christmas Day. They grind it, much like the Chosen One. Folks, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Now, check out the website, dpetro.com. We have links to all of our social media, including X, Facebook, YouTube, and also Instagram and TikTok. Check it out at the website, which is depetro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. Now, there is a challenger to Seth Magaziner. We're going to talk to that person coming up. There is a suspect on the loose right now in a recent homicide. We're going to talk to the mother of the murder victim, Brian Clements. We're going to talk to his mom coming up in just a couple moments. But folks, right now, I have to address just two different things. We are going to talk to his mom, Tiandra. But folks, I can't stress enough. This is a crucial time in the state. And what Governor McKee did, and I want to applaud Attorney General Peter Neronha. There's a couple things. I will touch on Biden referring to all people that aren't voting for Harris as garbage. We'll touch on that. I don't think it's going to, I mean, it's beyond the pale. It shouldn't go on. But I want to talk about what's going on at home. And that's why last hour I covered on the radio program a big part of the Attorney General, his press briefing, and he lays out the case. Governor McKee, to me, and I want to be very clear about this, this is disqualifying his behavior. That was, and look at who the ILO contract, and I get it that it's tomorrow's Halloween and everyone's focused on the race of the White House, but we have a crook as the governor. The fact that Governor McKee, he would not speak to investigators. The fact that he encouraged his staff not to talk to investigators. Attorney General Peter Neronha, I thought he was actually beyond gracious, but I think for him to say under the law, the governor did not have to speak to investigators. I get that under the law, and I understand someone is charged with a crime, and they say, I don't want to talk. I want my attorney. And we have Attorney Dodd say all the time. What's different about this, though, this is Governor McKee awarding a contract, millions, and then refusing to be responsible and talk about it. And he wouldn't talk to the investigators. And right now, we're going to bring on the mother of a homicide victim. And there is, and many of you that watch Road Patrol know, when I'm out there, one of the problems that police run into are people that know things and have information, and they won't talk about it. They won't share. But Governor McKee, he didn't just have a criminal defense attorney. He had a lobbyist. Bill Murphy, the former speaker, was basically acting as the governor's lawyer. What do you think that cost? So Bill Murphy, the lobbyist, the former speaker, who was a very successful criminal defense attorney, I covered a couple of his cases. He represented Vacola in Plenodome. But Bill Murphy, now there's a laundry list. He's got clients. He's a high-powered lobbyist. He has clients. That's who McKee chose. I want to be very clear. This should be nonpartisan. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. If you're the governor, which he is, McKee, and you award a contract, it's our money. We have a right to know the details. McKee says, well, I'm not answering questions, and the public, I don't have to answer any questions on this, even though it's a state police investigation. And it's just so appalling. Let me tell you about Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee. It's sleaze. He is a crook. He is a crook. He's a sleazy crook. He is dishonest. He surrounds himself with sleaze. And I also want to mention, I can't say it anymore, what goes on down the dial and why, here's my thing with the people of, how much more are people going to take? I don't get it. The bridge is a complete disaster. You can't have a worse situation than the bridge. People just take it. McKee has his pals down the dial that defend him. The whole segment, protect the governor. He hides from interviews because that's where he's given. We're not just a sanctuary state with criminals. We're a sanctuary state. That's a sanctuary station for McKee that he knows he's just going to go on, and it's Candyman, and he brings Gene some gifts. Gene's producer said, oh, the Candyman comes through again as he was bringing them gifts and T-shirts, and who cares? But they care. Oh, and we're going to have, Gene's going to host the Independent Man thing. Gee, I wonder if that was for free or that was paid. And then you have Pork Boy in the afternoon. The corruption. Channel 12 isn't on the payroll. The Providence Journal's not on the payroll. The Boston Globe is not on the payroll. Clearly, I'm not on the payroll. But McKee goes to his spots where people just say, keep the money flowing. It's disgraceful. But I want to be very clear. Why the Attorney General Nerona didn't bring that to a grand jury. I'll say this about the Attorney General. He stood there and answered all those questions for the press. But McKee would not cooperate with the state police. And he had just gotten into office. Now, there is right now something that I want to appeal to the public. And there is, not only is there been a homicide, but there's someone that's out there, and we're looking for the public's help to track that individual. And before we have on the mother of Brian Clements, I want to remind you folks, stay online, stay on focus here. AJ Home Improvement, call them today, 401-323-9252. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They do it all. I share their Facebook page. It's AJ Home Improvement, and they do a great job with your ceiling. I want to be very clear. I understand. We see this every night. Someone is brought into police custody. I understand the Constitution, 100%. You have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything that could then incriminate yourself. I totally get that. But with Governor McKee, that's not what this is. He gave awarded contracts where the people involved admit it was a rigged bid, rigged bidding. And what is McKee's response? Well, I'm just not going to answer any questions. You don't have the right to do that. That's our money. If he's involved with something with his personal life, then he has the right. He's afforded that. Now, when it comes to our money, they awarded the contract. McKee told his people, you may want to relook at that. They changed the specs to fit their pal. The people they were awarding it to said it's a rigged bidding process. Folks, why do you think Hasbro's leaving? Why do you think all these companies are leaving? He is a thief. He is a crook. He is. Let me just be very clear about my feeling on Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee. He's unfit for office. Now, as we covered, it was a brutal homicide on Chalkstone Avenue. Brian Clement, I didn't know Brian. Since then, we have covered in a road patrol right at Chalkstone and Zone. And there's a church area there. There's also a bus stop area there. And it was a Friday afternoon, and he was there. And this individual, Shabri Lovett, by all accounts, came up, and it was a horrendous, brutal homicide right there for no reason. Shabri Lovett is on the loose. Now, the rest of the media, they cover the story. That's it. We operate differently. To me, this case does not end till number one, Shabri Lovett is brought into custody. Number two, goes to trial. Number three, Brian Clements' family and his children deserve justice. I didn't know him. Since then, I've heard from several of his friends and family. He was a very loved individual. This was not a robbery. This wasn't a fight. This individual, and this video evidence and witnesses, came up and brutally stabbed and killed this individual. And joining us right now is Brian Clements' mom, who is Tiandra. Tiandra, first of all, thank you for taking the time. And secondly, my strongest heartfelt condolences on the loss of your son, who is loved by so many people.
Yes, he was.
Tell us about, number one, your son Brian, and what people can do to help justice in this case, even though tragically there's no bringing him back.
Well, I can start off with saying my son was a great guy. He wasn't a troublemaker. Brian was a very funny, loving individual. Brian always brought smiles to the room when he came through. Brian would talk to you. Brian was so harmless to anyone that even, remotely knew him. If you came across Brian, one, I know you're laughing. He's going to definitely take a drink with you. And, he was always smiles. He was not an evil young person. He was not a vindictive young person. I didn't raise him like that. My son wasn't a menace. If he was, I would say so, because that's the type of mom I am. And at any time, if you needed to talk, Brian would listen. He would always have feedback. Always have some feedback for you. He loved his kids. He loved his mom, his family, his grandmother. I mean, everybody. He just always loved his family, his friends, his cousins. He was just that type of guy. He was a great kid. I've never had no issues with Brian.
Tiandra, we've covered the candlelight vigil right at the spot where it happened. Here's what I've been told about your son, Brian. People gravitated towards him. People met him. They were at ease. And on top of that, what I want people to understand was this Shabri Levitt, this was not a robbery. This was not a fight. This was a brutal attack resulting in the death of your son, Brian Clement.
Yes. Unfortunately, that did just happen, and it stemmed over a woman. He was dating a young lady, and Shabri has children with the young lady. So it all stemmed over this one particular young lady. Brian wasn't dating her anymore, but that Friday before he stabbed my son was with her that Thursday night, and I seen her with my own two eyes. My son was so happy. He was FaceTiming me. He had learned to play Keno. She was sitting there with him drinking, knowingly that her child's father was at her house. Knowingly that he was there. So that next day, my son went to the store, which is at 7-Eleven, and he stopped to talk to her at the bus stop. She was on the phone talking to her child's father, her kid's father, Sabri Lovett, and he heard my son's voice. That's when he proceeded to come around the corner and intentionally, on video, not my word, on video, stabbed my son 3 times, the second time piercing his heart.
Oh, my God. And Brian didn't even see Shabri Lovett coming?
From what I understand, Brian didn't see it coming.
No.
And my thing is now that he is in the win, for someone who doesn't have any resources, who didn't work, who's homeless, and also the child's mother is gone as well. She's nowhere to be found either. But like I always said, if someone was to harm someone over me, I'm going to particularly be with that person.
Yes.
So they're not too far apart. And the fact that they have 2 children together. But my thing is, I want people to go to social media, put up his picture, advertise him as if you're selling something. Because anybody that knows Brian knows he didn't deserve what Shabri has done to him.
No. This was
not at all.
Cowardly, brutal, vicious, deadly attack over nothing from behind. And also, Tiandra, I have put it out there. I'm not just requesting. I am demanding people that have information about Shabri Lovett to come forward. I've even said, contact me. Some people don't like to go to the police. Contact me.
I understand.
I want you to give people an understanding of the type of individual that we're dealing with Shabri Lovett. This is someone. It's my
I personally don't know him. I've been hearing a lot of things about him when he did this to my son. And from my understanding, he's not a good person. He's not a good person. So, I mean, people might want to get him off the streets, because if he can harm my son the way he did in broad daylight, I'm pretty sure he's capable of doing other things. So he needs to be off the streets.
I've heard that he stabbed his own mother. Have you heard that?
I did hear that. I heard that he did stab and harm his own mother. So once again, if he can harm his own mother, nobody's safe. No one is safe. And once again, people know in the state of Rhode Island, myself, my family, and they know Brian. Brian was not that type of young man. So all I'm asking is, please continue to air him, put him out there. I don't care if you have to hang up posters. I'll send him to you. I'll do whatever it takes right now to get him off the street so my son and his kids can have justice.
Yes.
Me and my family deserve that, because Brian did not deserve to get killed the way he did.
Absolutely not.
And he killed my son.
No. And I want to be very clear with people. This wasn't 2 people that always go back and forth. This wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a fight. This is one person standing at a bus stop and a deranged lunatic, Shabri Lovett, coming up and stabbing 3 for just a brutal, vicious attack. And I want Lovett's got to be brought into justice. Period. He has
to be. And I know a lot of people have kids that have gotten killed, and you want justice as well. But this doesn't stop here for me until this man is caught. I'm going to continue to fight for my son. And anybody who knows Tiandra, knows I love my son. And I'm not going to stop. he will be caught. No matter how. And it's been over 30 days, and somebody is hiding him.
Yes.
Somebody is with him. They're giving him the resources, the food. He shouldn't be able to travel anywhere in this United States without somebody spotting him. Social media works really well, and that's all I ask you to do is please repost, talk about it, tell somebody about it who doesn't use social media. Tell the convenience store clerks, tell anyone. Just please continue to post this man until he is caught, because he has to go to court. He needs to be served, go to trial. He needs to see the pain that he's caused me and my family, his kids.
Your other son, you have your son that I've been in touch with. He's a very nice young man, and this is horrible that his brother's killer is out there on the run.
Yes, it is. And it's sad that my son witnessed what happened to his older brother. So, this man has to be caught. I don't want street justice. I want him to be brought in to court, Superior Court. I need him to go. I need him just to be caught, so that way I can fly down there and hear what the judge has to say about him. He intentionally killed my son. I don't want to hear with the possibility of parole. I don't want to hear 25-2. I don't want to hear that. I need to hear letters, because he intentionally, he did it deliberately.
Yes.
He killed my son. Without
remorse and
fled. without any remorse. And my thing is, you can do that to somebody even in front of your own child. Be a man and stand up and take accountability for what you've done. Don't run. Step forward. You was a big man when you did that. Be a big man to turn yourself in and say, you know what, I did that, and take your consequences.
Yes. But this is brutal, just being on the run. Now, I want people
it is. And he's gone and he's running, and somebody's harboring a fugitive.
Yep.
And I pray when they do catch him, and whomever is harboring him, that they also get in trouble as well.
I want you to know, I know the Providence police are on this. I've had people, and this is for the general public, I've had people that say, I have outstanding warrants. I don't want to get involved. I've already said, DM me the information. Get me the information. This Shabri Levitt needs to be arrested and put behind bars before he takes another life. Tiandra, absolutely. I want to give you the last word. Go right ahead.
Absolutely, he does. He really needs to be brought to justice. Yep. For my son's sake, for my grandchildren's sake, for my sanity, and so that way he doesn't harm anybody else.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't want no one else. I would never want anyone else to go through what I'm going through right now. Yeah. Brian was my love. That was my everything. And he took that from me. Excuse me. And he took them from his kids.
Oh, God. For nothing. Over nothing.
For absolutely nothing. Over a woman. Over a woman. You're 29 years old. For no reason did you do this to my son.
No. And it wasn't like Brian is like this. From what I've heard, your son was pretty popular. So he could have.
Yeah, he was. Let me tell you, I called myself Ralph Cramden. If anybody knows me and knows my child, I called him Ralph Cramden because Brian always had something going on.
He did.
And that was my Ralph Cramden.
Yes.
And I just always say, you know what? He never, ever stopped.
No.
He never, and then I know his soul is not at rest right now because of this man is still at large.
And I tell people, this was not God's will. This is not let him rest in peace. There will be no peace until Shabri Levitt is incarcerated and behind bars to face justice.
Absolutely, and is behind bars.
Yes.
And maybe my son will rest because Brian would not sit still. but I know he's still in Rhode Island. He's not with me, but I know he's in Rhode Island. Well, technically he is, because his urn is up here with me. But my son needs this man to be brought to justice. And I pray with all my heart and soul that this man is caught soon before he self-bottoms out and hurts somebody else. Because now he knows he's going to jail for the rest of his life. So he really doesn't have anything else to care for. So why wouldn't he harm somebody?
He would. No, that's when they're most dangerous, once they've taken
Exactly.
one. Yep.
Exactly. So
Tiandra,
my thing is,
we're talking now on this Wednesday. I am telling you, we are on it. I'm going to continue to put the word out there. We'll talk again if we have to. I'll talk to also Brian's dad. We're going to focus on this. And the next time we speak, Shabri Levitt is going to be in police custody.
I pray he is, and I will be willing to talk to you again, and I will be on social media. If anyone wants to call me and give me any tips to where I can call in, I will do that as well, to where if you don't feel comfortable going to the police station or give an anonymous call, you can call me. My number is there. Everybody, I've had my number over 18 years. It's there. My town knows me. Rhode Islanders know me. People from other states know me. And I'm taking this as far as I can because he needs to be caught.
Yeah. Tiandra, again, my condolences. This is not over. Thank you for taking the time. And we're going to talk to you again very soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate every one of your listeners, everyone who's following you. I ask you to please continue to air this. Can we continue to put my son's killer up, his picture up, Brian's picture up? I mean, I don't mind, and I don't care how we do it. I just want it to be done. And I just want this to be over with.
All right, Tiandra.
Because Shabri will have his day in court.
Yep. All right, Tiandra. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. God bless.
Okay, folks, there it is. And again, very difficult. Listen, and I want to be very clear with people. I know there are people that have information. And as many of you know, a lot of times the rest of the media, they move on to the next story. But there are dangerous people out there. And I have shared it. If you're on Facebook, we have over 75,000 followers on Facebook, plus we've been sharing on Instagram. We're sharing it on all the platforms. This will be shared everywhere. That is a dangerous individual that needs to be brought to justice. Now, folks, good afternoon, 1:33. This is the Real News. I admire her. That's brutal. That is brutal. This portion of the program is brought to you by, Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. There's dangerous people out there, and they keep making our streets more dangerous. You do have the right to protect yourself. Stop in and see George at Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Post Road in Warwick. Tell him I sent you. Special discount. Friend of the show. Even if it's just a defense shotgun. You have the right to defend yourself. People like Governor McKee, Crooked Joe, they want to make our country and our life more dangerous. Stop into Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Remember, don't retreat, reload at Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. This portion of the program also brought to you by Watson Materials, largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island, South County Trail, East Greenwich. What an amazing difference they could make on the inside of your home. Call them 401-885-0600. Request a quote. Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape material in Rhode Island. Landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone. Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Call them for a quote, 401-885-0600. Well, folks, good afternoon. Again, I know that's pretty heavy. For those of you that watch Rhode Patrol, we drive past where there's a shrine on Truckstone. And the police have not made the video public. But I am telling you, it is a vicious. You see that woman, Tiandra, and I give her so much credit. Her son, 29, is standing there at the bus stop waiting, talking to someone. And this complete savage, Shabri Levitt, comes up from behind it's like something out of a horror film, and boom, with a sharp weapon, and right there, brutal, vicious. That person right now is on the run, and we have shared. I share it on our social media posts. We're going to continue to, folks. We have to. I'm telling you right now, the situation that we're in. I mean, stopping police can't be everywhere. Police can't be everywhere, and stopping short of vigilantism. We have to protect each other. This person that's out there, they've already taken a life. Look at just today's Wednesday. Those of you that follow know what I've been dealing with. You have Perkins is still out there, and the judge. We're going to put down not guilty so we can get you back out on the street. This is the inmates are running the asylum in the Ocean State. You know what else I just want to mention? I mean, listen, I know right now we have people that are listening and watching in Massachusetts. When you just step back, Governor Healy, the governor of Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey, her decision, you have American citizens in poverty at these shelters. The decision to evict them and kick them out so they could put up people from foreign countries. It doesn't make sense because of it's craziness that's going on right now. And I am telling you that I really believe right now the economy is important, but if you don't have safety, if we're not safe, look at what's happening right now. Harris is not a strong leader. McKee is not a strong leader. And what's so revolting, this is such a consequential week that we're in right now. The media is melting down because they're seeing the momentum of the Trump campaign. And it's again, if you don't have safety, if you live in a neighborhood and it's not safe to walk down the street, or you have people breaking into your car, or people breaking into your home, it doesn't matter how nice your home is. It doesn't matter how green your grass is. None of that matters if you're not safe. The first thing that happens when crime enters a neighborhood, that's when people start to move. They're vocal with their feet. As I've said in the past, how many people say they had an old relative, an old aunt, uncle, grandmother that lived in the house they always were in, and then one night they were broken into, or one night, he or she were robbed. And that's when the family says, that's it. And we're packing up and moving. That's what it comes down to. We have leaders that have put us in a situation. And I also want to mention, for the president of the United States, remember, Governor McKee, greatest president of his lifetime, for him to refer to American citizens as garbage is just beyond the pale. He's not a comedian. Listen, as I've said, I don't like that the comedian said that at Madison Square Garden, because you can't give them reasons to blow that stuff up. That's why tone deaf, totally wrong, ridiculous. Listen, and let's be honest, it could cost President Trump the election. But there's a difference between a comedian and the president saying it. But what President Biden said is how Governor McKee and Matos and Seth Magaziner, what Biden said was vocal about how they view anyone that's not on board, which is they think of you and us as garbage. Is the economy important? Of course it is. But you know what's important? Safety. And no one likes the fact that right now we are not safe. We are not in a safe position, and not in a safe position in the world, by the way. I played, you have people that are talking about, and Bill Ackman saying that right now, a lot of people, we need a strong leader. I know it is, there are people in the world that want to take advantage, that want to expand their base. And we need a strong leader that's going to protect. To me, that's what it's really about. And in the certainly the Rhode Island delegation and the Massachusetts delegation, they don't get that. They don't get that. This comes down to a few good men. Jack Nicholson, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. What a lot of people, whether it's Governor McKee or Sabina Matos or Sheldon Whitehouse or Seth Magaziner, what they don't get is if you don't have safety, if we don't have safety, nothing else matters. They view they're looking at two people. Who's going to keep me safe? Who's going to keep the country safe? That's what we're talking about. We've seen the way it is right now under Biden. Now, right now, Steve Corvey is supposed to be joining us. And I've been very patient. He is challenging Seth Magaziner. He has not run the most aggressive campaign. I agreed, okay, we'll have him on. And you haven't heard a lot from the campaign. I'm trying to be patient here. I understand that they're, busy and so forth. So I want to just, I don't understand exactly why right now we don't have, I agree to have the individual on. And Steve Corvey, U.S. Congress. And I say, right now, I agree to have you on. I said it initially, I was tentative because I don't know. They're trying to run. I know what they say. Well, the media won't give us the coverage and we're doing the best we can and blah, blah, blah. Right now, we are giving you the opportunity to come on the program. And I am, dealing with how is it possible? Then try the link again. So what possibly try the link again? Holy moly. What possibly could be so difficult? We just had the mother, Tiandra. We had the mother on. This guy's running for Congress. He's got a staff. Yesterday, we had the father of the 18-year-old charged in Central Falls. We had him on. He could figure out the link. Just moments ago, we had a murder victim's mother who figured out the link. We have someone running for Congress. I sent them a link. And they're making me wait. And I here's the thing. I'm already going to vote for him. But I'm trying to get it out there. What possibly could be the problem? I'm going to move on. I said yes. We agreed upon a time. I sent the link. We had the father of the, lack of a better term, but shooter of the 18-year-old yesterday in Central Falls. He figured it out. We just had Tiandra, the mother of Brian Clements, sent her the link. She figured it out. You're running for Congress, and I think he joins us right now. All right, joining us right now. He is running against Seth Magaziner. It is Steve Corvey. Steve, good afternoon. Very well. All right. Now, first of all, you're like way too bright. So is there a way that we can, do you see how bright that is? I'm not sure what that t-shirt is. Okay. All right. Hey, listen, I agreed to have you on. So I'm not sure what's going on. What's your t-shirt, by the way?
Okay. I'm a comic book collector. It's Red Sonja. Red Sonja is, of course.
Okay. So you're running for Congress against Seth Magaziner, and you thought you'd wear a comic book t-shirt. Okay. You know what? I agreed that we're going to have you on. Let's move forward. Why should people vote for Steve Corvey over Seth Magaziner?
That's simple. You in Rhode Island have been voting for the same people over and over again, and you're expecting different results. That is the very definition of insanity. So why don't you vote for someone else? The bridge debacle, the problems with the high increase in taxes in the state. I own a home. I know real estate taxes gone up. There's many, many issues and infrastructure problems. If you keep voting for Democrats, you're going to get the same thing over and over again. So that's your first reason. The second reason is I'm a regular guy. I'm not a rich dilettante like Seth Magaziner, who is extraordinarily rich, doesn't even live in the district, by the way, and promised to voters that he would. He does not. He lives in the 1st Congressional District. And by the way, an FYI for the viewers and the listeners, none of your federal servants in D.C. are from the 2nd Congressional District. That would include your governor, that would include both senators, that would include Amos, and that would include Magaziner. They all live in the 1st Congressional District, which doesn't seem right to have not a single representative from the 2nd Congressional District. More importantly, another thing to follow up on is that I'm a regular guy. I do regular things. I am not a rich person in any way. I understand and empathy. I've gone parts of my life where I couldn't afford health insurance. I couldn't afford certain things because I'm an adjunct faculty member. So when people tell me their problems, I can empathize with them truly and not say, oh, yes, I understand, and then, of course, vote against it. And, of course, Seth Magaziner's voting record isn't very good. He has not showed up 50 times.